program. This will be my 30th summer, but my first online. So we're asking everybody to be patient with us. We're going to be patient with students all summer because it's the first time we've done this, and we know we're going to have some things to work through. So stick with us and we'll figure things out as we go. We're learning everything every day. So I'll turn it to Jeff to introduce himself, and then Jessica.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeff Christensen. I have been with Upward Bound going on 4 years now. I've been working with Upward Bound for 3. I'm the advisor and program specialist in the office. I primarily work with most of the seniors when it comes time for that. So, and then I'll pass it on to Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm the academic coordinator for the Upward Bound program, but I was an Upward Bound student all 4 years. And then I interned with the program, and now I work for them. So, but it's also my first online summer. This is new. So we appreciate you guys being patient with us.
So we do have a presentation that's kind of broken up into 3 parts. So we're going to start just an overview of Upward Bound. Jeff is going to share his screen. All
right, can we see? Are we in business? Are you able to see the PowerPoint, Judy?
Yes.
I can see it.
Okay, I just want to say that normally when we do these in person, we would have a handout for you to like take notes, and you by no means have to memorize all this stuff. We will put it on our website after tonight and the recording, so you can go back and listen to parts. Again, this is our amazing Upward Bound staff. There, Cindy Jordan is not on the video chat tonight. She does a lot of our behind the scenes, so chances are if you're getting things in the mail, it's coming from Cindy. So what is Upward Bound? For those of you who might not be all that familiar with us, this program was started at the federal level under President Johnson, the War on Poverty in 1964. Our program was one of the first ones in the country. So it's been on the college campus for, as you can see, since 1964. Upward Bound is one of, actually 7 TRIO programs. They just never changed the name. So since Upward Bound was formed, we now have Student Support Services, which works with Upward Bound students once they get at the college level. Then there's a McNair program, which is for students who want to pursue a PhD. And these are all funded through the Department of Education, like I said, on a 5-year grant cycle. So some universities across the country have all the TRIO programs. Right now, UW-Stevens Point just has Upward Bound. They did write a grant for Student Support Services, so we're crossing our fingers that that comes through. So our students who end up coming to Point kind of have some services when they're here. So Upward Bound, we're more than just a summer program. We do work with students year round.
Do you want me to go to the next slide?
Yeah. So during the school year, we have some main services that we provide. That would be school visits, college visits, and workshops. So this is one of our workshops that we are required to do by our grant. Every fall and every spring we have a workshop. We have college application events when your student gets to be a senior. We help students fill out their FAFSA also their senior year. And then for our juniors, annually we have an ACT boot camp that helps our students who are in 11th grade prepare for the ACT exam.
All right. And one thing I just want to add, also, we will have periods where we will take a break and allow for questions. If you're comfortable, you can unmute yourself and ask those questions, or also type them in the chat. So if you just want to note your questions, there'll be time to ask those at the during the breaks. So.
Okay, so school visits are something that we do during the school year, where I will personally come to the high school at least once a month. This past year, I had a set schedule with certain schools that I'd come to for a certain amount of time. I'm normally there pretty much all day, but for sure over the lunch periods. And And if your student can't meet with me then I can move my schedule around to meet with them. But since COVID happened, we've been having those online. This week was actually our last week for those. But if this is still happening during the fall, which I hope it's not, we'll continue to do that. But the goal of these is for me to meet with your students one-on-one and talk about different, things that they're having problems with. Or like if they're worried about a certain grade, I can help them find resources and things like that. It's really to keep them on track. And it's also to help them with any, basic issues that they're having. Like, let's say they're in a fight with a friend or something and need advice. I'm there to help them with that too. So we also go on a lot of college campus visits. We were only able to visit our 2 so far this year for our fall college visits. We went to UW Green Bay and St. Norbert. We were supposed to go to UW Madison and a couple other schools, but because of COVID, we couldn't do that, which is why Judy put COVID-19 for spring. That's what visited us. And so hopefully we can reschedule those and do those hopefully next fall. And in the past, we visited UW Parkside, Carroll University, UW Stevens Point. That's where they normally would be staying over the summer, so they would see that campus pretty thoroughly. We visited UW Eau Claire and Minnesota Twin Cities.
So workshops are another main component of our academic year, and this is a great opportunity to provide additional academic resources to our students. We bring in speakers from different businesses and academic backgrounds, professionals, professors. We also have fun, and we just kind of like a check-in with each individual class, because as the student progresses through high school, there's different things they need to be planning for. Like, I know a lot of our 9th graders think that they have a long time yet before they get to college, but I think a senior or a junior here would say that time really flies. So every step of the way, we have some things that students can be doing to prepare for college. Okay, next.
Okay, so we do have expectations of your student. And this is another thing that I'll normally touch on during school visits. Every time we get a copy of their grade report, I kind of go over it with them. So these are our expectations, is to get, like, all we really ask is like a genuine attempt to improve yourself, and a genuine attempt to just be a part of the program. And you show us that by attending as many events as possible. We know that you can't attend all of them because of family reasons or something like that, but then at least let us know ahead of time. But we would really like you to be as part of many as you can, because 1, you get to hang out with your friends, and 2, you learn something. So, and attend as many summer sessions as you can. We know that a lot of our students do have jobs, but we can also write letters and things like that, whatever you need to help get your student excused from summer for that 5 weeks. So just let us know. If you're a freshman, you'll only be there for 1 week, but still we can help you with all of that. Next is like our grade expectations. We say no Fs. But what we mean by that is, obviously if you're having Fs, then there's a different problem. It's not because you're failing and you don't care. It's, there's always something like you're having difficulty studying, or you don't want to talk to your teacher, or, parents and guardians, if you hear or you see these Fs and stuff on the student's report, and you just feel like they need help with something, you can reach out to us as well, or reach out to us with your student. And we can help them with whatever they need. We'll talk more about our other resources later on, but yeah. So these are our resources. You can always go to our website. We have links to all of these on our website, so that's a good just hub to go to. Then we have our Facebook page, which is where you will see all of our updates. We also have a Facebook group called UWSP UB Pointers, or you can find it by hashtag UB Pointers, but that is the group where we post almost all of our updates. Parents, you can also be a part of this if your child doesn't have Facebook. Another thing that's new that we'll be doing, we started it a month ago, but it is still brand new, but it's going to be more prevalent during this next school year and over the summer. And it's called On Track. It's just a couple like short videos with like 4 questions or so after each video, helping your student learn more about what they can expect through college and what they need to do to prepare. Some of it is how to write a good research paper, things like that. Next is our tutor.com. This is like our biggest resource that is underutilized in the program. With this, your student can talk to a tutor anytime. So they're available 24/7. There's no video chatting or anything involved. It is all like, instant messaging and stuff like that. But these tutors can actually, have a whiteboard on their side, and they can like show your student step by step on how to do like a math problem, for example. They also have a writing Dropbox. So if your student needs help with like, checking over their grammar and stuff, they can send it in. It's best to do it 2 days ahead of time, but then they'll get it back to you with edits and things like that. And then our financial aid resources, Jeff will get more into that later, but we do, like, we're your biggest resource really, and even more so Jeff. He used to work in financial aid, so he's kind of a guru with all this stuff. So really, like, use us as a resource because that's what we're here for. We're here to support you and your student. So.
Okay, so this is a time where we can stop and ask, see if anybody has any questions.
And you can type them in the chat at any time as well if you need a question.
Oh yeah, good call. And then we can get to them during the breaks too, so we can read them out loud.
Yep.
So feel free to chat those in. Can you, I can't, because I'm sharing the screen, I can't see the chat, so I don't know if there was any.
I have it right here.
Okay. Were there any that came through?
Nope.
Okay. These are just some photos of general Upward Bound stuff. The top one, the top left, I don't even know where they were at. The top right, this was one summer. We do community service in the summer. Probably not this summer, obviously, but getting into college may require community service hours or for graduation for high school, and so we like to get students involved. They worked out in the Schmeekley Reserve, which is a forest preserve on campus, and they helped do different things on the trails. We also visited Lakeland University in the bottom left there. That's a private school. I happened to go to college there, and we had one senior go to Lakeland last fall, and that's Lakeland's in Sheboygan, and then the other one on the bottom is in the residence hall last summer. So those are some of our students and RAs. All right, so this next part is a little bit of a financial aid overview. It's hard to, looks like we got one chat. All right, and Candace is asking, have we made arrangements for students to keep their Chromebooks over the summer? So we will, at the end of the presentation, cover summer, and for those of you that aren't participating in summer, don't have to stay, but we can answer that question now. We did make arrangements with every school that we are with currently, so that you can keep your Chromebooks, so you will not have to return those. At least until the end of the summer. Judy, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, all the schools have agreed to let students keep their school issued devices. I don't know if schools might reach out to the students and have them fill out another form. Otherwise, they do have our list of students who are going to be participating in our summer program. So um, as far as I know, there's no other process for that. But if you do get something from your school tech person, it might just be a matter of confirming what number you have, or I don't know how they issue those.
Yeah, we'll work closely with the schools to figure out how that's going to work with them. So, and again, we'll get to the summer stuff at the end. So, all right. So briefly, while we all have you here, part of our grant is to educate parents and families about the financial aid process. I've done a very brief overview. Financial aid's a complicated topic. And so we like to talk to parents, you know, even if you have an 8th grader or if you're a senior, we like to talk to families every year, so that by the time that they get to their senior year, the financial aid process doesn't seem so foreign. Like Jessica said, in a prior life, I used to be a financial aid advisor. I worked at 4 other universities doing financial aid. I'm much happier doing Upward Bound. It's a lot more fun, but I still like my job as in financial aid. Let's see. All right, so basically, the definition for financial aid is basically any money that a student can receive to pay for educational costs, and there's 3 different types. Most people think financial aid is just free money, and that's not necessarily true, not 100%. The gift aid is free money, and those are things that are like grants and scholarships. And generally that money does not have to be paid back. There are funds available, potentially free funds available for your son or daughter or child to get to college. We also have borrowed aid, which covers federal student loans. So these are loans backed by the government that they issue, but the government does want the money back on them. They also offer parent loans. So aside from loans that students can take out, there are loans that a parent can take out through the federal government as well. And we can talk about more about that, you know, as your students get into their senior year and how that process would work if interested. And then there's private student loans, and those are loans that the student would take out in their name, but because they don't have any credit, they're going to have some sort of an adult co-sign on them. And so generally, a lot of times parents do have to be involved in the financial aid process, at least for the application, and also may help, you know, foot the bill with student loans. There's another one that a lot of people don't consider as well, but there's work-based aid, and that's called federal work study. So when a student gets to college, a financial aid office may award a student work study. And sometimes it'll range from like 2,000 probably to about 3,000, I would say, on average. And that's money that the government gives each institution or school or college. They give those institutions money to hire students at the university. And so it could be anything from being a custodial staff to working in the kitchen to being a peer advisor, working in the advising office, to sitting at the front desk in the library, to working on security. And I'm a big proponent of taking work study when you do get to college, because you can sometimes find something that fits the area that you want to go in. For instance, I was a business management major, and so I worked in the financial aid office or my freshman year, and did that all 4 years, you know, and that led to my career in financial aid and higher education.
Yep. I also took financial or work study all my years of college. My first couple was at a small campus, so they really didn't have much, but the professors would have, you'd almost be like an assistant, I guess, and you'd help them grade like their like Psych 101, for example. I helped grade those tests and things like that. But you can even get work study like off campus too. I worked at Boys and Girls Club for a long time, like when I was in college, and they used the work study money to hire me for, during the school year, because they saved money, because it's basically free money for them. So the government's giving, my work study money is for them to pay me, so that way, so you can even work off campus if you work with your employer.
Yeah, and the off-campus employer has to be like a nonprofit or government agency or something like that. But you're more attractive to hire as a student employee if you have work-study funds, because your employer or the department on campus can hire you with those funds. Now, a lot of families get confused when they see those work-study funds, because they think they subtract that from what they owe on their balance. But this is the only type of aid that actually gets paid directly to the student, and it would come in the form of a paycheck, just like any employee would at the university, or if it's an outside institution. So and so, maybe you could reduce some of your loans if you know that you're going to be working part-time, and they're very easy to work with, because you can fit the jobs between classes, like they know you're a student. So all right, so where does financial aid come from? So this first quarter here, the United States federal government, they run the student loan program, the parent loan program. They offer federal grants, typically called the Pell Grant, if anybody's heard that. And they also offer a supplemental grant. They're also responsible for providing the work study funds. Then the state of Wisconsin also kicks in some aid as well. They have the Wisconsin Grant and TIP Grant. The TIP Grant stands for the Talent Incentive Program Grant, and most students that are eligible for the Upward Bound program are eligible for that. During your student's senior year, I work with them to fill out all these applications, and that one requires a different app. So I actually collect that all in person at our workshops and stuff. So I try to not leave any money left on the table. Also, your colleges and universities or tech schools will also offer institutional aid. A lot of schools have donors where they've set up funds to offer scholarships to students. For the public universities, a lot of those are based on major specific. So maybe a donor left money for psychology students, and if you're majoring in psychology, you'd be eligible for this extra scholarship. Private schools are very heavily reliant on donor funding, and so they usually have some big donors that offer scholarships, and they usually offer institutional grants. For that reason, a lot of people think that private schools cost a lot of money, but they're heavily discounted by donor funding, so you never really pay what the sticker price is. So if you're ever interested in a private school or university, which we do tour as well in the mix of the state and tech schools, if you are interested in those, it's important to still apply to that, because you can get a hefty scholarship. Jessica's sister was in the program and got like a full ride to one of the schools, and currently one of our seniors now is going to the Milwaukee School of Engineering, and she got a really hefty scholarship too. So the tuition on that looked like it was like $50,000, but when you're getting a $30,000 scholarship, that cuts it significantly. So yeah, all colleges and universities will have some form of their own funding, whether it be called a grant or a scholarship. Then the fourth piece are community businesses and organizations, and these come basically in the form of scholarships. These are usually earned while in high school, during your senior year. Most high schools will have some sort of senior or financial aid night or scholarship night, where it's like one application fits all, and you apply and they award those based from the community. For more information on that, when you get to be a senior or a junior and we do college readiness in the summer, we'll talk about this. But also use your guidance office as a resource to find out what scholarships are available in your local community. Places like churches too, or if your parents are or if parents are involved in like Lions Club or things like that, there may be scholarships available. I know one of our seniors was involved in bowling, and I believe she lives in Minocqua, and she got a bowling scholarship for participating. So there's all kinds of resources out there. But those are usually a lot smaller amounts, and usually they only give them to your first year. They're typically not renewable. Another one to consider too is military benefits for those military families. Do we have any military families here tonight? Maybe like one of the parents were in the military. If we do, those are, I do vet those questions too. So during their senior year, I figure out which families maybe were in the military. I also used to help do benefits for that as well. So if anyone ever has any questions on how to get your military benefits to go to school or to pass them on to your child, that's something I can help you with as well.
If we did have somebody say that their dad was in the military and that student's going to be a senior this.
Oh, fantastic. Taylor, okay. So Taylor, you're going to be in my College Readiness 12 class over this summer, and we'll talk about that if your dad doesn't already know how to do that. So awesome. Okay. Most people don't. It's confusing too. All right, so I have a little video here on what the FAFSA is, and the FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And this is basically the application that you're gonna fill out to apply for financial aid. Now you do this every year, and this is gonna qualify you for the federal aid and also for the state of Wisconsin. So Wisconsin uses the FAFSA to calculate their aid as well.
The free application for...
And Judy, could you hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA, is the application for grants, loans, and work-study funds provided by the federal government. It is also used by many states and schools for their financial aid programs. For the fastest and easiest way to apply, visit our official website, fafsa.gov. The FAFSA is available in English and Spanish. As you fill it out online, you'll be able to automatically skip questions that don't pertain to you, check out your status immediately, and get online help. It takes most people less than 30 minutes to complete the application. You'll need a few things when you fill it out, so get ready by gathering your Social Security number, your permanent resident card if you have one, any W-2 forms or records of money you earned for the previous year, and your tax records. By the way, a nice time-saving feature of the FAFSA is that many people are eligible to automatically transfer their tax data from the IRS into the FAFSA, so keep an eye out while you're applying in case you're offered that option. If you have any questions about what information to gather, there is a complete list of documents that you will need at fafsa.gov. Before you begin the process of filling out the FAFSA, you should create a username and password called an FSA ID that will act as your electronic signature. You'll only need to create an FSA ID once, and you can use it to renew your FAFSA each year that you apply. Your parents will need an FSA ID too if they have to provide any information. So now you're ready to begin filling out the FAFSA to apply for financial aid. There are 3 groups of questions that include personal information, such as your name, address, and marital status, financial information, such as your income, and any parent information that is required. If you get hung up or confused about a question, the Help and Hints box on the right-hand side of the application can help with each question as you move along. Also, look for the online chat feature under Help if you would like assistance from a knowledgeable agent. Because colleges and career schools use the FAFSA to provide financial aid, you can list up to 10 schools that you are interested in attending. You should list all of the schools that you are considering, even if you haven't been accepted or applied yet. If you have more than 10 schools in mind, you can submit your FAFSA with 10 schools and then replace some of those schools with other schools later. When you finish filling out the FAFSA, use your FSA ID to sign the form. If you are required to submit parent information on your FAFSA, a parent will need to sign the application with his or her own FSA ID as well. If you have any questions or need more information, please visit studentaid.gov.
Okay, and I do host parent workshops, or financial aid workshops in the fall. So the FAFSA, for those of you that are juniors right now, the FAFSA goes live October 1st. And so during that first week, we try to, we'll either host one on campus or go to some of your local communities and host a workshop where you can bring your laptop and sit down with mom and dad and fill out the FAFSA together. So you don't have to do that alone if that's something you don't want to. All right, so some other things to consider. A lot of families get concerned with student loans. And I'm here just to kind of talk about that because I know loans can be scary sometimes. The number one thing that I heard from families when I was in financial aid, especially like the new students that were freshmen in college, the first thing out of their parents' mouth would say is like, I don't want any loans. And while that's a reasonable thing to not want, the cost of education sometimes doesn't allow that. And so I just want to talk about it now so that way when you get to your child's freshman year of college, you're not blindsided by, I have to maybe take out loans, okay? There may not be a lot of loans, but most students, even if you're low income, are going to have to take out some form of student loan to cover that cost. So to kind of talk about this, think of college as an investment. You need to spend money or borrow money now so that you can earn money later, right? And just know that it's normal to take out loans, okay? 99% of the people in the US are probably taking out some sort of loan at some point to go to college. And while it's not maybe for the full amount, you know, the grants can help cover some of that, but just be prepared that you may need some sort of loan money to cover the difference. And the government has a really good loan program out there for student borrowers. And then also if parents want to help chip in too, they can take out loans in their name as well. So you know, my family had to take them out as well, and my parents were not wealthy by any means. And, you know, it's just part of the process now. So just one look at from 2015, the median salary for ages 25 to 34. So less than a high school diploma, the average income was about 25,000. And then as you can see, as your education level increases, the amount of income increases. And so this is where I was talking about that education's an investment, right? So if we look at someone with a high school diploma, if you're age 25 to 35 back in 2015, they were making about 30,000 a year. Whereas in someone with a bachelor's degree was making about 50,000. Now keep in mind, this is across the entire United States, and incomes are different. You know, I'm still not making that 50,000, but you know, someday, right? But just notice on average, that's a $19,000 gap. And then if you want to take it by hourly income, you know, the average for someone 25 to 34 was with a high school diploma was making about $14 to $15 an hour, where college is about $24 an hour. So that's what this is what I mean, where, you know, sometimes we have to take out those loans, but it's worth it in the end. Some other things to look at, on the far right here, you can see the unemployment rate in 2014. As your education level goes up, the unemployment rate goes down for those people. So you're more resistant to things happening in the economy. You know, today's times is probably a really great example of that. And you know, money's not everything, right? But I'm just here to show you how your education can be an investment tool. Let's see, yeah, and then here, so this is for all ages now. So this is taking into account, you know, from 18 to age 99. You know, there's still an increase in pay. You know, someone from high school in 2015 was on average making 43,000 a year, whereas someone with a bachelor's degree was making 74. You know, but also keep in mind, this is all ages, so that factors in people that have worked a long time. And then this was just an infographic that the Federal Student Aid put out that I'd like to share as well. Just another graphic that shows the average income levels increase between high school and a bachelor's degree. The professional degree at the top here are like your lawyers, doctors, stuff like that. All right, this was another graphic here. They say on average college graduates earn $1 million more over their lifetimes than high school graduates. So think about it, like on average, if a college graduate is making $20,000 to $30,000 more per year, and you graduate college when you're about 21 and you retire at 65, you have over 40 years of working. So that adds up. And usually, jobs with college degrees will offer insurance and retirement benefits. So you got to keep that in mind too. All right, so does anybody have any questions on financial aid? I know it's not the most exciting topic, but we're almost done.
I did want to say that we do these financial aid overviews every year. So if you attend every year, by the time your student is a senior, you should be pretty well versed in some of the financial aid issues. And as Jeff said earlier, every fall we do have workshops for seniors and their parents that we go over all this stuff in more detail. So sometimes it can be daunting, and we really try to break it down for you and make it less so. And financial aid is getting easier every year. I think they changed that FAFSA to make things easier for families to fill out.
All right, well, seeing no questions, I think we can move on.
Okay.
Jessica, are you taking over?
Yes, I am. So now we've moved summer session online, and pretty much everything is online or virtual right now. So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of information on how you could support your student. And first things first is to help set up a study space. So over summer, we normally have our study session in the evening. We are also going to be having that this summer, but it's not as structured because it's not on campus. But on campus, your student, already has like their study space set up and stuff like that. And they may have that at home as well. But I know I didn't when I was in high school. That was like the last thing from my mind. And even in college, I was with people who didn't have their study space set up or anything. So this is just a little picture that was perfect for what I was trying to get on this slide. So a couple of tips are get off the bed. So your brain, when it gets into bed, is like, okay, it's bedtime. And you don't want that. One of my other tips that's coming up is going to be get comfortable, but not too comfortable. So you want your brain to associate bed with sleep and not studying, stress, and stuff like that, because then it's going to be harder for you to sleep. Next says get in position, but basically, find a decent spot for you to sit in. Again, not too comfy, but not too uncomfortable, because if you're too comfy, you're going to fall asleep. And if you're not comfortable enough, you're not going to be able to focus. So you can experiment with different things, but that's that one tip. Have a snack or some water or something next to you, because that will help too with concentration. Turn off any technology temptations. So if your student, let's say, is studying in their room and they have a gaming console or a TV, try to turn those off if at all possible. Move your phone to a totally different room, or turn it off, turn it on, do not disturb. I'll go into details later about some ways you can help with that too. Take regular breaks. So set a timer for 20 minutes, and that's the amount of studying you're going to do. and then, you know, take a break for like 10 minutes and keep doing that. Unless you're like me and that doesn't work for you and you need to, like, if you're in your flow, you don't have to break your flow. But for a lot of students, especially being stuck inside during summer, taking breaks regularly can be very helpful. And during the school day, they're going to be in class, but then from like 1:30 till 7, they're going to have, it's free time. So, but then towards the end of the night is when you do your check-ins in the study session. So we'll go into that during later on in this slide or this presentation. Manage your time. So this is like the biggest point for you guys to kind of help with them, is help them kind of manage, you know, when they're going to be doing their studying. We're kind of, that was the biggest complaint we got from students when they made the shift to online schooling, is they didn't know how to manage their time because they're not in class. They're not going to regular scheduled things anymore. So it's kind of just like, okay, what do I do with all my time? We're going to take care of some of that with having our classes scheduled. So they're going to be synchronous. So you have to log on. But during study session and stuff, it may be harder for them to actually sit down and get their work done for some students. Adjust the noise. Again, this is where you guys can really help your students out, is finding them a quiet place, if at all possible. We are providing them with headphones, but they're not noise canceling. So just eliminate as many distractions as possible. Streamline your visuals. That just means, you know, keep things that could be a distraction away from you, basically. Another thing that's not on here is fidget toys, even, are just like the best. So like, even if you have like some Play-Doh or something around to fidget with while you're working, can really help you focus. I know it seems kind of counterintuitive, but it really does help. Next slide, please, Jeff. Thank you. So here is where like all my tools are to kind of help you stay on task. I was gonna put a video in here, but the video is kind of long and we'd have to skip and stuff. So, but up here is a link. So if you click on that, the focus toolkit, it should.
Do you want me to go to that link you shared before?
Yes, please. And that has a bunch of distraction blockers, which are different programs that you can use and install on your computer. I know a couple of them, like the Freedom one, is like $2 a month, I think. So if you don't want to pay that, you don't have to by any means, but it's just there as a resource. And then there's a couple other ones too that are all on this website. I really love it. I kind of like went into a rabbit hole of this guy's work and his tips because they just are really, really awesome. There's like timers for you to set. So like you can't open your phone or open certain websites on your computer for the time that you set to study. Also, something that's really good is music, but the right kind of music. So you don't want like, you know, music that's going to distract you, or like if you have songs that you're singing along to all the time and you're going to get distracted and want to dance, probably not the best for studying, because they're going to distract you. But those are like Spotify has plenty of playlists for free that you can listen to. But yeah, that website is on the PowerPoint, and like Judy said, we're going to have that available to you, and we can also put this on our website too, which will be complete later on. But okay, you can go to the next slide. Okay, the next couple slides you can apply to even the school year or like in-person stuff, not just online. This is a way that you can just really help your student be the best student that they can be. Number one is like facilitate communication, and this is between their teachers, us, Outward Bound, and you just about, how school is going. Not just, hey, what'd you learn today? Because they're going to be like, math. So at least that's what I did. But, try to facilitate more communication, and, talk about kind of what's going on, because you're the first line of defense, basically, for anything that's going on. So you can help with that. Offer guidance on decisions. I know a lot of our students are very independent, but school is hard sometimes. So if you offer guidance, especially on decisions with like school and stuff like that, or like what college they want to go to, they may not now, but value you being there. And that doesn't mean, tell them which school to go to by any means. It just means, offering some guidance, help foster the relationship between the student and the teacher, because that'll just help overall. A lot of teachers write, letters of recommendations and stuff like that. Also, teachers aren't supposed to be biased, but if you have a good relationship with the teacher, you're just going to do better in the class in general, because that teacher's going to know you care, and that teacher's going to be more willing to help you. And know what's going on in the classroom. So basically, kind of what the teacher wants and things like that. Know what the teachers expect. So like during the beginning of the school year, when a teacher shows a syllabus or what they're going to learn that year, maybe like look over that. So like the first day of school, just kind of look at it and see kind of like what their due dates are and stuff. So that way, what's going on. So when they come home and they're doing homework, what they're supposed to be doing. And again, this isn't meant to like tell them what to do and keep on track for them. It's just, you're kind of like that backup, because they're learning how to be self-sufficient and how to, do all this stuff on their own. But, being a teenager is hard. There's lots of things going on. So sometimes school is the last thing on your mind. So you guys are there to help them get through all that. Okay. Self-motivation is another thing that they're really going to need, especially since they were already doing online summer for a long time, and we don't have a lot of that interaction and like camp-like feel, like summer camp-like feel of camaraderie. So they might not feel as motivated to do the work or come to our activities or anything like that. I liked this quote that I found. It says, with a great flexibility comes great responsibility. And it's true. That's why online classes are really hard for some people, is because you can not over the summer, because like I said, we're going to have structured classes. But when it comes to your free time and your homework time, you have the like your student has the flexibility to do, what they want during that time. So kind of helping them stay focused. And if they're struggling, to reach out to their TA. So we'll talk more about that later, but every student is going to have a TA that they can go to, and there's going to be check-ins Monday through Thursday, and again on Sunday. So have them reach out sooner than later. Or if you, as their parent or guardian, are worried about something, feel free to reach out to us, and we can help you out with that. Check in on student progress. So again, it's kind of hard to be online and, being in charge of your own activities, your own schedule and stuff like that, when that's normally laid out for you by just the school. So you can help by being aware of their deadlines. So like if that they have a test or like a paper that's going to be due, because it's only 5 weeks for our summer session. If you know that at the end of the summer they have a project due, and you haven't seen them working on it, you can be like, hey, don't you have that project you need to be doing? And again, not telling them, but suggesting, I guess. If you're noticing that they're having a really hard time kind of like keeping track of things, which again is normal, they're learning how to do it, is help them write to-do lists, or use their phone calendars, use email calendars, stuff like that. Because you're there to help guide them through this. And again, normally we would be doing that. So we're asking for your help because we're not in person. Our TAs aren't in person to help with your students 24/7 with this stuff. They will be going to classes though with your students. So they'll be logging on during the classes, but they're not going to be, it's not going to be a live-in situation this time. So, and yes, you're key to helping with all of this. So. So how can you help them keep connected with their teacher or their TA in this case as well? The good thing about being online is that we're going to be using emails and group chats and a lot of discussion boards. So there's a lot of opportunity for communication. It also allows you to get a quicker response than you probably would in person. So this, you know, you can kind of help them with that. So if they're being like, oh, I don't remember what I need to do for this thing, you can say, oh, well, have you talked to your TA? Have you talked to Jessica? Have you talked to Judy? Have you emailed your teacher? So, or to check Canvas, which we'll go over again. But
Oh, sorry,
okay.
I wasn't sure if you were done with the.
Nope, I'm done.
The
Thanks.
yeah.
So continued, encourage your student to remain in contact with your student, not just when they're falling behind or struggling, but the sooner you get to it, the better, because a teacher can't really do anything if it's like 2 days till the end of the course. So the sooner you can talk about an issue, the better. Or if you just want to get better at it. So like, let's say you got a B on a paper, but you know, your student knows that they can do better. You can talk to a teacher then too. It's not just when you're struggling or falling behind. And it prepares your student for college or career because professors and bosses expect that everything's fine until you say something. So sooner the better. And again, we would normally help more with this because we're one-on-one more during the summer, but you know, help them seek help because that's like the hardest thing to do is to seek help when you're having an issue. So you guys can help them with that. Okay, so one of the biggest topics that have come up, at least with like teachers and some parents, is with being online. How are they going to take tests or do all this stuff, or like without like cheating or something like that? Because it'd be super easy to do that. And the way you can help with that, because I don't think any of our students would do it, but I just put it in here because it was pretty much all over where I looked that, you know, teachers were worried about this. And so what you can do to help is just discourage cheating, which I'm assuming all of you do anyways, but and emphasize the importance of actually learning the material and not just looking to complete it, because you know you're being taught it for a reason, not just to get a good grade on a piece of paper. So okay, this one is, I think, is the most important slide. So we do a lot of activities, not so much now, but we will still have Tuesdays and Thursdays with TAs and maybe even a couple more days throughout the week. And Friday, we will definitely have an activity. And those are all going to be Zoom calls. So please encourage your student to attend those because that's going to be their time for that crucial interaction with their peers. So that really helps. And some of our current students haven't seen their friends for a whole year. So this is the time to meet with them and talk to them. During the school year, please encourage them to come to school visits and things like that. Because I travel sometimes over 2 hours to go to the school, and when only one student shows up, it's kind of like, you know, we don't want to lose that as part of our, duties or anything like that. Like, I want to see your students. That's my passion. So if you can encourage them to show up to these, I mean, we're not just doing it just to tick off something on a grant. We're doing it because we actually want to, and we like interacting with your students. So.
All
Judy's
right.
All
Why
right.
don't everybody take 30 seconds to stand up and stretch?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So this next session, we're going to move on and pass it on to Judy. Judy's going to talk about the online summer session. If anybody's not attending for summer, you can feel free to leave, or maybe you may find something that you may not know. I know it's about online learning, but it may be similar or may provide information for when we do it in person next summer. So feel free but to jump off, but you're not obligated to stay either. So.
All right. So due to our whole pandemic, we had to move our summer session online, which is definitely not how we like to do things, but we're going to roll with it, and we're going to create the best experience that we can for the students. We did ask that students either fill out a form saying that they did want to participate in the online summer session, or tell us that they wanted to opt out for one reason or the other. We understand that students have been busy online learning and again might be burned out, and that's fine. That's why we kind of gave students an out this year because of that. If you're not sure if your student did let us know one way or the other, you can put something in the chat, or you can email us after this, or we can let you know if your student is on the list. We started out with 55 students, now we're down to 53, which is actually really impressive given the current online learning that our students are doing. So, okay, you can go to the next slide. So traditionally, what does our summer session look like? Well, it's 5 weeks living on the Stevens Point campus in the residence hall. You're taking classes in the academic buildings, getting a flavor for what college campus is like, living away from home, interacting with other students. We do lots of activities on the weekend. We do field trips. And so it's all whole. We're an academic program, but we do build in a cultural and social component into all that. So. All right, so what will this summer session look like? We're gonna hit on all these topics that are on the slide. Canvas is a learning management system that all the universities in the state of Wisconsin, public universities in the state of Wisconsin, utilize for their online classes. So our students are going to get really good experience utilizing it, because at some point during their college career, they are going to likely be taking an online class. So this is going to get them really acclimated to that system. Every student is also going to get a UWSP email account. We'll get into that in a second. Your school did allow you to use your school issued device, and we will be giving you some school supplies, and more on this a little bit later as well. So let's talk a little bit about your classes. So this is a daily schedule. So all classes will meet synchronously, which means you have to log in at the time of your class. So classes will start on June 15th at 9 a.m. Then you can see they're 50 minutes long. You have 10 minutes in between, and then there's a lunch break in there, and then there's the 4th-hour class. Now this is Monday through Thursday. Friday's schedule is a little bit different, which we'll get on the next slide. But if you are in a situation where you might not be able to attend the class at the time it meets, teachers will be recording their class session, so you can go back later. If you're in a situation, we do have a student who requested to do all their classes later because of a job situation. If that is you, please email us as soon as possible so that we know that ahead of time, because we don't want you not showing up for class at all, and then we're like wondering what the heck. So if you are in that situation, please let us know as soon as possible so we can figure that out for you. Okay,
Judy, the general expectation is hopefully you can participate in person though, right? Because that's where they're going to get the best experience of bit. These would be limited cases.
Right.
We'd rather have you do it, maybe come back and do the recordings than not at all.
Mhm.
But also it's most important to see you at the scheduled time.
Mhm. Yeah, because that's when you can interact with other students and learn from each other. So, okay. So then from 1:30 to 6, as Jessica said, it's free time. That's your time. You don't have any upper bound responsibilities. But hopefully if you're managing your time well, you're getting some of your work done. We do have some online activities we're going to be having primarily on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Always be checking our Upward Bound website for a calendar and Zoom links and things for those. And those are optional. You don't have to do them, but as Jessica was saying earlier, you get to know other students, and hopefully it's a little bit, fun things that you can do. And, but we understand that not everybody can do them. And then we have tutor advisor group meetings. And this is, as Jessica said, every student's going to get assigned a tutor advisor. And this half an hour time frame here is just kind of check in, what's going on, what are you having any challenges, want to talk about anything. If everything is going great, you can log in and say, hey, I'm doing great. And then your TA can be like, okay, see you tomorrow. And then that's that. But we do want you to be responsible about attending those or letting your tutor advisor know via email if you're not able to attend for some reason or another. And then we have,
this is also the time for you to talk with your friends too, because it's kind of replacing when we would have a hall meeting. And I tried to group students with their same age group. So, like 10th graders are together. In some places it wasn't that easy, but then you really get to kind of know your class as well too. So I really encourage, staying there for that.
mhm. So those group meetings are going to actually be like when the student logs into their class schedule, there's going to be a link for those. And then the online study session is going to have the same link as the tutor advisor group meeting. So you just flow from one into the other. The tutors are going to be there from 7:30 to 9. They'll be there the whole time. So if you want to just keep logged in and you can ask a question or get help, or go see another TA that might be better at math, another one might be better at science. Or if you feel like you got a handle on it, you can just check in again and then log off and do your own thing. Or if you want to, I'm working on something, oops, now I have a question, you can log back in because they're there from 7:30 to 9.
Yeah, you won't be sitting there from 7:30 to 9 on the thing, so it's a flexible period for you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can if you want, but you're not going to be required to.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But we have our TAs, like one of them is majoring in math education. So you'll see her a lot in your math classes. But then we also have like 2 English majors that can help you with your reading and writing. And we even have a history major for one of our TAs. So if you need help in your history class, you can talk to him. So we have a TA for every subject pretty much. So if you need help, again, reach out and stay for that online tutoring. So
on Fridays, classes are 9 a.m. till noon. That 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock class is a special topic class on health and wellness. Maybe there'll be some little, activity that the TAs will run or the peer coaches. It's just kind of another way to like add some more cultural and social and wellness aspect into our summer program as much as we can do from online. And then Saturday, we don't have any Upward Bound events or classes. Sundays, the only thing that we have going on is our study session. That's from 7:30 to 9. And that'll work how it does on Monday through Thursday.
Okay. And we do have one question. Do you want to keep going or answer the questions?
I'll answer the question.
Okay, so Taylor says, when are we going to meet the new RAs? And who's all coming back from last year, or is there really not a need for them? So
Okay.
the RAs, so when Jessica was saying TAs, so they're now called tutor advisors instead of residential advisors, and these TAs are college students at UWSP. We actually have a couple master's students. So I'll let Judy answer the rest of that.
Sure. So the tutor advisors are going to be doing everything that they did in the residence hall except living with you. So they're going to be like your go-to person if you're having issues, a mentor, a tutor, running activities. We do have a number of them coming back from next year. There's going to be 8 total. We have Brendan coming back, Ryan coming back, Maggie coming back. Did I miss somebody? Anyway, you will meet them.
Her,
My her
she wasn't
and
working last summer, but she was on a lot of our trips. So.
yes, we have Myher King, who is also an alumni of our program, and then we have Tia Yang, who's also an alumni of our program. And you will meet the TAs. We are going to be having some student orientation before classes start, and you will meet them on, at the June 14th orientation. And we're also planning to have a website for our summer session. That's going to probably go up sometime next week, and then I'll have information on all the TAs there, who they are, and a little bio and a photo, and then you can kind of get a head start look at that.
Mhm.
Good question, Taylor. Thank you.
Mhm.
And everyone's welcome to type in type in the chat as we go. Otherwise, we can also unmute at the end and ask the questions verbally too. So
All right.
if I can get this slide to move. Frozen. There we go.
Okay, so the classes you'll be taking, there are some required classes that everybody has to take whether they want to or not. Reading, writing, math, science, college readiness 10 or 12. If you're going to be a junior, next fall you'll be taking an ACT test prep course. And then we do, foreign language is a required class, but obviously not all students will fit into Spanish. So as much as possible, we try to give our students a foreign language class. And you'll be put in those classes based on what you told us on your registration form, what classes you'll be taking next year. Not everything matches up perfectly, but we do our best to match that. And then we ask students to give us their elective choices. There's 2 computer classes. We'll have drama, film appreciation. If you end up in film appreciation, that's the last class period of the day that could potentially go a little bit beyond 1:30 because, obviously you'll be watching films. I'm not sure how she's going to structure that class yet. Financial fitness, which is once a week. It's just basically financial literacy, some good tips on getting you ready to handle credit and all those kind of goody things. History, multicultural ed, and then a social problem. So Jessica's going to do her darndest to get you into your first, second, or third choice, but sometimes, again, depending on what your required class is, she might just give you what fits. So sometimes.
Your required classes, I'm working on these right now, but your required classes, some students, like we have reading, let's say reading 10 and writing 10, sometimes the math would conflict with that, like you're reading or writing, so you might be in like math instead of writing 10, but I did my best to but I also went, if there was that conflict based on your grades the last grades that we have, to see which class you were doing best in, so then I could put you in the other class. So our goal is to try to help you be prepared for next year. So that's why it might look a little different. You're like, hey, I don't have a math class, but you most likely have a math class and not a writing or reading class, because those writing and reading come with a lot of other classes. So those are the ones I kind of sacrificed. But if you have any issues, or you're like, hey, I really need a reading class, like I'm excellent at math, I don't need help in that, and you want to switch, just, I'm not going to do a lot of schedule switching because it's very difficult to do. But I will try my hardest to do that for you if you really notice that there's a issue there. For your electives, I probably will be less nice than switching those unless you have like severe anxiety and you don't want to do drama, but I'm pretty sure you guys are reading a play and stuff like that. It's not going to be too intense. So, but talk to me as soon as possible if you know that there's going to be an issue, and I'll do my best. But like I said, there's no promises because, yeah, but.
All right, next slide. All right, so this is what your class schedule is going to look like. Obviously, where it's blank is where you're going to have, what your class is. You will get your class schedule the week of June 8th. Those will be delivered to you. So that's how you will get it. If for some reason you misplace it, then you will have to email Jessica and she will have to email it to you.
I was also going to email it to everybody too, so you
Okay.
have a copy. But
Okay, so then you'll get it
Yep.
twice.
yes, but then you know for sure what
Mhm,
classes
yeah,
you have. One to put on the fridge and one to have on your computer. Got it. Got all
yes.
those.
All right. Next. All right, all about the technology. Here we get to some nitty-gritty information. So you will be able to use your school issued devices. We do have iPads we can check out to students if there's an issue with your school issued device or something happens to it. You just need to let us know. June 1st is Monday, so you need to let us know really quickly because there's some work that goes to getting those set up for you. So please let us know. And if anything happens to your school issued device as we're going through summer, you need to let us know as soon as possible, and we'll have to jump in a car and run something to you. So communication is going to be important. So UWSP email account, you will need this email account in order to access Canvas in all your classes, and it's how we're going to be communicating with students pretty much during the summer session. Jeff Christensen has already set those up for you. He sent an email to whatever email you used when you signed up for summer with information on how to log in and activate that email account. So Jeff, do you have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, I recognize a handful of you that already did reply to my email and saying that you did activate your account. So it's hard for me to tell if you actually do. So it'd be helpful if you've activated your account just to respond to the email I sent you. I sent an email to every student signed up for the summer. So if you registered for summer, I sent it to the email that I have that we have on file for you. So please take care of that. We have 53 students attending online. Normally I help you set up these accounts in person, but obviously since we're online, it's gonna be a lot more difficult for me to help you. So that's why I started having you activate your accounts early on. So the account is how you're gonna log into Canvas, but it also is gonna give you access to a UWSP email. The email is not as super important because you don't necessarily have to always use it. But during orientation, I'll show you how you can set that up. You can download the Outlook app. I know a lot of you are probably familiar with Google, but we're a Microsoft campus. So if you download the Outlook app, you can attach your UWSP email to it so you can have the app on your phone, and that way you can get UWSP if you want to use your UWSP email. A handful of our students like the UWSP email and actually continue to use it throughout the year. And so, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. I heard. So it's your choice, but then you'll have this UWSP email to use. Technically, if you ever wanted to come on campus, you'd be able to log in on the facilities and stuff, or any computer lab on campus if for any reason you are around. But it'll also grant you access to like all the resources online for anything that needs a UWSP account. So. And then the Canvas piece is our online learning management system. And like Judy had said earlier, all UW colleges use Canvas. And so you guys have a leg up by being able to do this online session, because by the time you get to college, you're already going to know how to do this. And it's more common now that students, even if you're going to college in person, you may have one class online, and it's very common for teachers to have it integrated where you still meet face to face, but they have your course in Canvas. And so it's just going to be beneficial for you all to learn this now, and we're excited that we're able to use it for our Upward Bound program for your high school classes this summer. So
I believe Lincoln High School is already using it, so our Lincoln students are already going to be fairly familiar with it. And Canvas is accessed through the uwsp.edu homepage. We'll show you where that's at, but we're also going to have a link to it on our online learning tab on our website. But during our first orientation session, we will show you all this stuff. So please try not to worry about it and stress about it too much. I did want to say one thing about technology. This is our first time doing online classes. We did use Canvas last year for some little things, but we didn't go fully online until this year. So we're going to be all learning together, and we expect that there's going to be glitches and things that we have to work out, and kinks and all that kind of good stuff. So if anything goes wrong on the first day, we'll try to fix those as we go. So we'll just be patient with each other, like I said before.
And the Zoom links will be like to join your class. You'll actually go into the class on Canvas, and then there'll be a Zoom link in there to join virtual. So then the class will pop up just like where we are now. So.
Yeah. So benefits to summer session participation. Well, you're going to earn high school credit. Our high schools have agreed to give students high school credit for their summer. It's usually one elective credit depending on your performance during the summer. And the key word here is earn high school credit. You're not just going to get it automatically. You do have to earn it. It's going to improve your academic skills and prepare you for the next school year. I just lost my slide.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. You're going to learn how to do online learning correctly and efficiently. If we end up having to do online schooling again in the fall, you guys are going to be experts. When you get to college, like I said, you're going to have a lot of peers who are going to be really savvy with this thing. So we want our students to be competitive along with everybody else who has that technology skills. You get to interact with other Upward Bound students. It's not in person, of course, but it's still a way to socialize with some students. It'll look good in your future college or scholarship application that you spent your time during a pandemic continuing learning. And then you'll have the opportunity to go on an honors trip once travel is allowed. And we're hopefully hoping that we can plan this for August 2020. But if we can't go in August, we'll probably go in spring 2021. So our expectations of you, please be on time for your class. We know that people have appointments, medical appointments or dentist appointments. If that happens, just email your teacher ahead of time or your TA and let them know. Let us provide advance notice. If for some reason you're sick on a day that's, we're not gonna make you come to class, but again, please let somebody know that you are sick, and then they can get the assignment to you. Attend your TA group meetings. That's your chance to interact with students and get some issues resolved. Give your best effort. This is what we say all the time. Like, you have to just try your best. We won't be giving grades, but you will get assignments, and we just want you to put your best foot forward. Be on time with your assignment completion. Ask for help when you need it. Sometimes that's really hard for somebody to approach a teacher or a TA, and this is a good practice for that. Take advantage of opportunities. This is an opportunity. It's not the opportunity we wanted to provide to you, but we're going to make the best of things. Attitude is everything. If you want to learn and you want to have a positive experience, then you do. And Upward Bound students, we're held to a higher standard. We expect our students. I know I've heard from teachers that a lot of students are not putting forth their best effort with this online learning because it's a lot of pass fail, but that's not our students. Our students are going to do what they need to do to prepare to go to college someday and put their best foot forward.
All right, and we just to let you know, we have about 11 minutes left, but we're getting towards the end. So
yes. All right. So school supplies. You will be given notebooks, pens, pencils, a whiteboard, and dry erase markers for any online activities. A set of earbuds, a coloring book. That's just for fun. It's a great stress reliever. Some colored pencils, and you will have it'll come in a backpack type cinch bag, and it'll have a folder in there that will contain your class schedule, a summer handbook, and some information about our orientation session. Next. Okay, so how are you going to get this? Well, Jessica is going to head up the highway in all directions and drop off school supplies for students. So June 8th, DC Everest, Lakeland Union, Northland Pines, and Tomahawk students. You will get a schedule with this next week sometime, so you don't have to memorize everything right now. June 10th, it's Lincoln and Spash students. And then June 11th is going to be the makeup day. If we have any kind of inclement weather on either one of those 2 days, then we'll be doing the drop-offs there. So it'll be primarily in front of your high school. So like I said, the schedule will be sent to you via your email next week sometime, hopefully earlier in the week, but you never know how things go. And then it'll also be on the website. If for some reason when you get your schedule and if that drop-off time and location does not work for you, please, 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 within 24 hours, contact Jessica at this email and we will make an arrangement for you. So like Lakeland, Tomahawk, Northland Pines, those are 2-hour drives for Jessica. So it's really important that when you have your time frame, it's probably going to be an hour to 2-hour time frame to come pick up your stuff, that you're there so we can get your stuff to you.
Yep, and all social distancing guidelines and stuff will be set. So I'll be wearing a mask, things like that. So just so you know.
Yeah, so we were talking about the tutor advisors. As we said, it'll be 8 of them. They'll be going to classes with students. They'll be leading the group meetings, doing the online tutoring assistance, and then running the optional online activities in the evening.
Yeah, and like we said too, they are also current college students. So it's a great way for the students to you know, build a connection with someone who's currently in college.
And then we have peer coaches. These are juniors and seniors who were kind of first friends, peer helpers to our new students. So if you're brand new to Upward Bound, you'll get assigned a peer coach and they will help you learn the ropes of Upward Bound, and this is new for them too. So you can help each other out. And they'll be doing some leadership training the week before summer starts. And then they will work with you. They'll be a peer coach the whole academic year, so they can be a resource for you in your school as well.
Yep. And so the peer coaches will have a class the week prior to the summer session. So for those of you that are peer coaches, I've already let you know that. And then for those of you that are new and have never been in Upward Bound, they will contact you via phone or text or something just to reach out to get to know you, to help acclimate you to the program. So be prepared for that as well.
Mm-hmm. Stipend. Students will be able to earn a stipend. It's at least going to be $120. We haven't received everything officially from the Department of Ed yet as to what those are going to be, but we know it's going to be at least $60 a month. So how you earn that stipend is by coming to class, doing your assignments, putting forth your best effort. You can use that money for whatever you want, and we will send that to you in the form of a check, probably late July, early August. You will need to complete a W-9 form if you haven't already, but Jessica will be bringing those to you if we don't have one on file already. All right, discipline. We will have problem reports. This is just a way for our teachers to communicate with us if a student was late or missed work or for any kind of misbehavior, right? We will be having a code of conduct. I think I mailed that out to everybody last week. We will also have some online learning expectations that we'll go over with students during orientation, and we'll have a handbook. It'll be printed in there. So, and then if things do raise to a level where we have to communicate with the parent or follow our, typically in the summer we have this 4-step disciplinary policy, and it's really tailored for when we're on campus, but we did modify a little bit for our online summer. So you can go to the next slide, Jeff. I'll just show them a little bit. So it's basically step 1 is like a warning. Step 2 is will involve your parent guardian. Step 3 is you might have a 1 to 3 day suspension, and then step 4 is yeah, you're dismissed from the program and you have a chance to reapply the following year. So, but we're not going to have any problems. It's going to be a great summer. Everybody's going to do what they need to do, so we won't have to worry about this, right? Freshman focus. This is an experience that we typically have with our incoming freshmen. If there's any parents that are here that have some students who are going to be 9th graders who have been admitted to the program, our freshman focus this year, it usually happens before the 5-week session, but because of COVID, you can move to the next slide. we did have to push it back till August. We have not heard whether that's going to be a go yet. So if you do have a student who was admitted for the freshman focus week, we will let you know as soon as possible. As soon as we know whether it's a go, you will know. So this just gives our freshmen a good introduction to the program before they commit to Upward Bound full-time. So, all right, I think just some last minute reminders here. Always watch your email and the Upward Bound website for information with activities and events, and if there's any change in schedule. We'll put our teacher emails will be on there. So you can communicate when you need to. We did send out some forms last week. Some of you have already sent them back, so thank you. So just make sure you get those in by the 15th. And then there will be orientation sessions for students, and these will be required. So June 13th and June 14th, 2 to 4, and we'll send you information on that. And that's June 13th date. That's just, we're gonna go over all the technology issues. How do you get to your classes, your email, make sure everybody's all set to go. And then June 14th, we'll go through the student handbook and our expectations, and you'll meet the TAs. And then Monday the 15th will be good to go. So.
All right, well, thank you, Judy. What questions does everybody have? Again, you can feel free to type those in the chat and I'll read them out, or you can unmute yourself as well.
Again, we will put this presentation on our website, so if you think of something later, I think the next slide, Jeff, has our email addresses on it.
And you can also email us with any questions you have as well, if you have a question that you don't want to ask in front of everybody.
Lisa saying she hasn't received a stipend check from April. Yep, those are in the works. Nobody on campus is working in their offices, so things are going really slowly. We hope to be back in our offices by mid-June, but you just have to sit tight.
Yeah, Felisa. So I did process those. So we have to wait for our payment services office. But since I think a lot of them are working from home, they did get some out. They did get some out that I processed for the seniors, which was a week prior. So hopefully, you know, those will go out, but you will still earn your stipend for those April activities. And then remember that May, there's some online activities for May that you all can complete too. And Sunday's the last day to complete those. And then we'll send out another round of checks for that too.
Somebody had asked a question about grades. Well, if it's the end of a semester, we look at your semester grades, like, and then the first quarter, it's first quarter grades and so forth. But generally, the semester grades are the ones that go down in the transcript, so those would be the ones we'd be most concerned about.
But we check quarter, so if you're having an issue, then we can nip
Right,
that
good.
bud right away, so we can help you with that.
Right. Yeah, the semester is the most important, like, because they do get sent, they go on your high school transcripts when you're applying for college.
Well, we're doing okay in time here. We got about 1 more minute. I want to be mindful of people's time. So if you think of something later, please just email us. Okay. Well, hopefully you gained all the answers to your questions that you might have had about online summer. Again, we will be having orientations with the students prior to classes starting on June 15th.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening. We hope to see you in person soon.